We have a habit of overworking, is what we all do. And it's a habit that literally all Americans have. And if you're an entrepreneur, you have it times 100. Let's talk about vacation.
There is so much unexpected beauty that you find when you release control.
How do I make as little decisions as possible while I'm on this vacation?
Release responsibility and release the fact that the average human makes 35,000 decisions a day, 2,000 an hour.
There is a strong business case for taking a vacation.
Every time you go on a vacation, you come back with so many ideas for the business. How do you do that?
If you actually put all those problems down and go actually just live, right? And stay in the present moment.
You can use a vacation to reverse engineer better results in your business.
You want to make more money? You are in the right place. Welcome to the Hello 7 podcast. That's 7 as in 7 figures. I'm your host, Rachel Rodgers.
Let's talk about vacation and let's talk about being a human outside of business, because I think that we forget that part. But it's a very important part of the journey. Even in the early days, it's very important, which I had to learn the hard way. And Brittany and I both just went on vacations for our respective birthdays. We're both Aquariuses, so we both just had birthdays. And I think there is a strong business case for taking a vacation. It's not just a good time, which just a good time is a sufficient reason enough, y'all.
Yeah.
But even beyond that, there's a business reason to take a vacation. So we can chat about that. So I went to St. Bart's. Brittany, where did you go?
I went to Puerto Vallarta in Mexico on the Pacific coast.
Yes. And your vacation was planned in advance, right?
Way in advance. It was actually my husband planned it, which I'm a Virgo rising. I'm a planner. So this was very uncomfortable for me. He planned it. He surprised me. I didn't even know where we were going until 2 days before. And then the night before, he was like, help plan some of the excursions, which I did. But yeah, it was planned since I think November. So it's been on the calendar for the company. We knew we were going. Yeah.
Since November. And I planned my vacation about maybe 14 days before we left.
Sagittarius rising.
Yeah, correct. So I do not have a Virgo rising, actually. So no planner in me. However, I did do some planning, and it was a great time, and I'm very glad we did it. Brittany was saying St. Bart's was my white whale. It was like this vacation that I kept trying to go on for years, and it kept not working out for whatever reason. And it's also one of those places that in high season, which my birthday is high season for St. Bart's, it's very hard to you have to plan in advance. Otherwise you're not going to be able to find anything. However, it's literally 45 minutes from Puerto Rico. So it was a really quick, easy flight. And so I was like, I'm just going to make this happen and book it last minute and we'll see. And we couldn't figure out our babysitter situation. And my husband was like, I'll sort out the babysitter, just book it. So that was literally 2 weeks before. So either way, you can have a fabulous vacation.
Yeah. And it was my first vacation so I, for the past 3 years, have been creating humans and also scaling a business, an 8-figure business. So I have not taken actual real live vacations where you detach from children and business. I've detached from one or the other. I've never fully detached from the children. And I had severe anxiety and panic attacks up until leaving the children, because I've left them for work, but my husband has stayed with them. We've never both left them. And they couldn't have cared less. They had so much fun. They were with their grandparents. And I mean, we came back and they were glad we were back, but it worked out so well. And I had so much anxiety. It was the first time, though, I had zero anxiety about leaving the business, which is, and it's a critical time, which is a testament to the team we've built. And
yes,
and you also, because funnily enough, my birthday's on the 10th, Rachel's is on the 16th. So I was out Thursday to Monday, and you were out Friday to Monday. So we Monday and Friday, we bookend the week.
Yes, exactly.
That's vacation talk. They're just having vacation talk, y'all. It's important. Okay.
Yes. And I want y'all to internalize some of this and think about this for your own lives. One of the things that you said that I think is important for people to hear here, and I would love to know, of the folks who are here, I would love to know who here has taken a real vacation in the last, let's say, 6 months to a year, okay, we'll even go back 12 months. Who here is taking a real vacation, meaning I'm not working on this vacation, I'm not taking care of other people on this vacation, I'm just taking care of me and having a good time? Who has done that? Folks saying, not me.
Not me.
Some people did. And also, the holidays count, but
Mhm.
sometimes not. Because if you're experiencing the holidays in a way of like how I experience Thanksgiving, which I've decided I'm now done with because I've been hosting for literally a decade plus, like I probably have been hosting since I got married, which is like almost 20 years. We're approaching, and I'm very done with it. But hosting is like, doing all the cooking, coordinating people, getting people from the airport, right? Like taking care of everybody. When you're doing that, that's an experience, and it's a beautiful family experience. I would not say it qualifies as a vacation. So let's be
Mm.
clear, when we are saying vacation, let's define it. So let's define it for ourselves. When we're saying vacation, that means I am not working. So here's Robert's version. I'm putting Robert on blast right now. He's gonna be like, "Don't be talking about me in your meetings." But Robert's version of a vacation, this is what we fight about every time we go away together, which is going to happen this weekend. I'm going to see him and Susan at his house in Great Barrington. We're going to do that this weekend. And I guarantee you he's going to work, and I might get salty about it. And we have this conversation all the time and this fight all the time because his version of vacation is, right, like, I'm going to lay by the pool with my laptop and just send a couple emails. I'm just sending a couple emails, right? And I'm like, I left my children and husband, who I actually enjoy all of them, to be with you. I left my whole life to be here and hang out, and you're going to send emails? I don't think so. Okay.
Absolutely
Close
not.
the laptop. When I go to bed, you can stay up late and send emails, but when it's hangout time, we're not
Mhm.
doing that. And I'm telling you, it's a constant fight because I think sometimes we're just entrepreneurs are in that mode where like you're just always working. You're just never
Mhm.
not working. You're either thinking about work or sending a couple emails related to work or just a couple Slack messages for work or whatever it is, right? That you're always on. And when you always do that, like you never actually take a real break where you come back refreshed, excited, fresh energy, fresh ideas, and you're like, let's go, right? You don't get to that point because you kept doing a little bit of something the whole time and you never really took a full unplug.
Yeah. And that was the power I realized. So first off, I voxed Rachel right before my trip and I said, okay, every time you go on a vacation, you come back with so many ideas for the business. How do you do that? So I'm trying to reverse engineer my birthday trip for business purposes. Okay. First off, I know that's
Yeah,
problematic, but
you're on the wrong track already.
I said, so how do you do that? How do you, because I want to come back with ideas because a vacation isn't enough. So if you're like me, which I had a coach once tell me, you know what, Brittany, you don't do things until it's required for other people. You won't just do it for yourself. And I was like, yes, I recognize
Mm.
that's a problem, but here we go. Okay. I'm almost
I
40.
used to I used to have this problem. I do not have this problem anymore. And we
I'm
can
like,
talk about it.
listen, that was like another little pin in the map of we're not doing that anymore. It was like self
Yeah.
acupuncture of because we were on that trip. We flew out on Thursday, got there Thursday night, and we flew out on Monday. So we were only there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 full days.
Yeah.
And it felt like the longest vacation ever. I asked Rachel, I was like, do I bring this book I'm reading about like, what she boxes back, she says, do not bring that book. You put that book on your bedside table and don't look at it until you get back. And then she said, book a bunch of excursions, eat really good food, have a lot of sex with your husband. Like, all these things that you don't do because you've got tiny children running around or a business to take care of. Right. And so that's exactly what I did. Y'all, we had the best like tasting menu at this restaurant. I was like, I'm done making any decisions. I just want the chef to give me his best. I'm not even going to look
Mm,
at it. Give me the
yes.
wine that goes with the food that the chef recommends. It was the most
Oh,
amazing meal of my entire life.
that's amazing. That's such a great idea. That I never do. It's just say like, feed me whatever you got. Like do your best and let me see. Let me see what it is.
Do
It's
your
almost
best,
like a
I will judge
challenge.
you.
Yeah, exactly. What you got? What you got in your arsenal? Let me see it. I love that. That's even a next level that I'm actually going to take from you and add it to my vacation vibes, is how do I make as little decisions as possible while I'm on this vacation? Because as entrepreneurs and as leaders, right, business leaders, you are making decisions all day long and it's just nonstop. So how you need to have a rest from that. Otherwise, your brain doesn't rest. And I see the chat going on that Kiara has started about like how do you actually get your brain to be quiet? And I have some thoughts on this that I will address shortly. But yes,
Yes.
I love that.
So I just want to say the result of that was I was on the plane on the flight home reading my fiction book. And all of
Yes.
a sudden, I just started having all these ideas. And I opened a
Mhm.
note on my phone and just started writing them down. And I've got like so many ideas. So my point is you can use a vacation to reverse engineer better results in your business. But you don't have to.
Yes.
For the purpose of the vacation is enough. But also, the reason I got to that point was because I let go completely, came back to myself.
Yes.
Yeah, had some fun, started to think about what do I really want? And then you're going to have a stronger business if you're creating the business that you really want. How do I want this
Yes.
business to run? How do I like what's not fitting? There's something that's not fitting. What do you keep thinking about? That thing, like it's a hangnail and you gotta address it. So there's
Yes.
some sleepless nights on my vacation. I think I had one sleepless night where I just couldn't sleep thinking about a couple things in the business. And I just told myself, okay, well, you can't solve this right now. Go back to sleep, right? Because like Rachel said, our brains, and Kira was saying, like, how do you turn your brain off? Well, first off, that 3 o'clock hour in the morning for me is the hardest because that's when I wake up and I'm just like, I have thoughts, right? It's the quiet hour. So you can use it. You could leverage it. But also, the other way, as someone who has an overactive brain, which means I'm thinking all the time and I have an actual narrative of a voice in my head and it's my own voice talking, the way I quiet that is looking fun things to do that consume my
Mhm.
brain.
Yes.
That's how we did that on that trip.
Yes. And that is definitely that's where I started. And I think that's the 1.0 of quieting your brain, right? Like that's where you have to begin. And so for example, for those of you who cannot enjoy your evenings without working or thinking about work, or for those of you who cannot enjoy your weekends without working or thinking about business, let me know if that's you. Let me know in the chat if you're one of those people that's like, I don't really enjoy my evenings and weekends. I'm still kind of technically working or thinking about work or thinking about this business. I'm bracing myself for Rachel to drag me. So if that's the case, like I started with, I'm going to start to basically fill my time with non-business stuff. So I have other things to do that like take my brain off of it. Right. And so some of it is like just taking care of the little humans, right? When you got little people in your life, but they will absolutely snap you into the present by spilling all the pasta sauce or whatever it is. So that happens. Or like yelling at them to get them in the shower, then get them to brush their teeth, and get them to do all the things in the evening. That's part of it. But it's also like I'll watch TV just to like quiet my brain. That's something that when I had that conversation with Tabitha Brown, we were talking backstage and she was saying she watches movies like the crazier the better, right? She's just watching movies or shows to like get her mind off life and just chill and enjoy life. So you can watch movies, you could play games. Like I like playing Scrabble and literally crushing everyone in my family at Scrabble. So don't think because you're small, I'm going to let you in. I am not letting you in. Okay. Just because you are my child and I birthed you does not mean I let you in. Okay.
Teaching strategy. You are teaching strategy at a young level.
I am teaching them how to step their game up. Okay. If you want to step to me with Scrabble, you better come ready to go. Okay. So I'm not thinking about my business because I'm thinking about how to actually crush my child in this game, which is, I don't know if that's good or bad. I'll talk to my therapist about it.
Let her tell you.
But and then same thing on the weekends. Like I book fun things for the family to do. I book fun things to do by myself, right? Or to do with my husband. I have like a regular babysitter that comes for certain times throughout the month so that I'm like, and usually she shows up and I'm in the middle of stuff and I'm like, oh yeah, I booked you for this. And I have to put down whatever I was doing and go on the date night or go on the whatever. And all of that helps me to unplug reading, listening to non-business podcasts, y'all, or audiobooks, like listening to other things, and you can fill up your time. Yes. But the other thing that I want to offer you, so start there because that's a way to like just start to build the habit, right? It takes time to, we have a habit of overworking, is what we all do. And it's a habit that literally all Americans have. And if you're an entrepreneur, you have it times 100. So we have to build this habit of not overworking. And it takes time to do that, right? So I got here over time. I didn't get here immediately because I definitely was where all y'all, and not all of you, but a lot of you are. Um, so that's where you start. The thing that I want to offer you is something that, like, I literally was just talking to my therapist about this, is that here's the other thing that I want you to think about, right? If you live in your head and you're constantly thinking about something, right? And you're thinking about the future, you're thinking about your goal, you're thinking about the business, you're thinking about all the things. You're not living in the reality, right? This is our reality. This is it, y'all, right? Like these trees, this breeze, this conversation that we're all having, this Wi-Fi connection, like this is real. This is what's happening right now. All the shit in your head is made up, right? We've talked about this before. And I've always said, like, if you're going to make up shit, make up something positive and useful instead of making up negative shit, which is what Brittany does at 3 a.m.
Sometimes.
Not all the time. Not all the time. It's just I'm being funny. But anyway, but I want you to realize, like, when you live in your brain, it's like living in, let's use the example of a coffee cup, right? Does anybody have a to-go coffee cup? I'm obsessed with them. I have several, and I always have to have my to-go coffee. It keeps my coffee hot while I'm like taking my kids to school. Because I like to sip coffee, but they got to be at school at a certain time. So I have to take it with me in this to-go cup. And it has a lid, right? When you are constantly in your brain, you are experiencing life in this cup. So it's like everything that's happening for you can fit in this coffee mug, and that's it. That's all you're going to experience, right? And the world is vast. Life is vast. There is so much to experience. But when we are in our heads, we're living in the mug, okay? And we are not experiencing the vastness of life. Like we can't, like right now, if I look up, I'm like, oh, the breeze, the trees are swaying and there's sunshine and there's water like that's moving in the pool and like the sky is blue, right? And I'm seeing that. This table, right? I can experience everything. I can see what this feels like. But if I'm in my head, then I'm like, what? Business problems, right? And I'm thinking about all of that. What did they think of me? All of these things, all of these thoughts that we carry, like, my hair looks weird, my house is a mess, all of the stuff. I can stay in there or I can experience life. And I have to tell you, I've done both. And when you actually allow yourself to be present and experience life, it's so much more open. There's so much more possibility. It's so much more fun. You're actually going to enjoy it more, which is part of what happened on this vacation. Like I tried to plan all of these things and a lot of them didn't work out because they were last minute booked. And sometimes I experienced it, but it was like I had the wackest table, so I didn't really get to experience it or whatever. And I was like wrestling with some of the disappointment of that. But I noticed that on the days that I just let go and just was like, what do we feel like doing today? Oh, we feel like going for a hike. Let me do some quick research. Oh, there's 2 hike options. Let's do this one. And we just like hiked to this beach that you can't get to except by hiking or boat. And that was like the best day. Was it all so fun? No, like part of me was scared for my life because it was like on the edge of a cliff and I'm scared of heights. And I was like, why am I on this hike? They said it was easy. They lied. It was not easy. It was moderate to advanced. Then there's other people who are like carrying a surfboard doing it like it was nothing. And meanwhile, I'm like, my husband's holding my beach bag and he had an attitude half the time because he's like, this klutzy woman is going to fall and I'm gonna be pissed. She gonna injure herself. Right. But I was being in the moment and choosing based on like what my physical body was telling me to do today instead of what my plan said to do and what the goal was and what we had to experience and all the shit we had to check off the list. And I had so much more fun when I did that versus the times where I was like, oh, we have to do this. We have to do this. All the guidebooks say do this. All the guidebooks say do that. When I was doing that, I didn't have fun, So I had to put that down and realize like, I don't need to do so much of that. So I just want to invite you all to like allow yourself to experience life and realize when you are staying in your head all the time, because I think we're in our heads because we're like, we've got to figure all this shit out. But the reality is the fucking opposite, like what Brittany is saying. If you actually put all those problems down and go actually just live, right?
Mm.
And stay in the present moment, you will actually get all the solutions to the problems. They will come to you because you're setting that intention that I need a solution to this problem. So just set that intention and then go live. And then as you're living, you're going to be like, oh, this is the solution. And it'll just pop into your head. You can't actually force it. So all this thinking is actually a waste of your energy, and it's stopping you from living and experiencing life.
1,100,000,000%. And I got to tell you, the moment on my vacation where I just had this major aha and was crying was we had booked this excursion. We just had one more day and we're like, what are we going to do? And I was like, it was scuba diving or whale watching. And number one, I'm just not going to scuba dive. Probably ever. Never. Like,
That's just not, it is not our business. What is going down deep in the ocean? Like if God wanted me down there, he would have given me gills. You know what I'm saying? Like,
we know more about outer space than we know about the ocean. So I'm not
I'm gonna mind my business and I'm gonna stay right here.
I'm gonna be on top of the water in the boat, and they're gonna give me a sandwich, and it's gonna be good. So we went whale watching.
I'm gonna wear a life jacket.
I had the life jacket on. I was clutching my husband because the water was choppy. But y'all, when a giant whale popped up out of the water with that spray of water breathing, and then another one came up and she was like, oh, those are two males and they're fighting because they want to mate with that. I just started bawling. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, what are we doing with our lives? Everyone could go whale watching. The thing that pops in my head is not we should all be millionaires. We should all be whale watching because it was so these huge, as big as your boat, and they're so peaceful, these whales. And they're in Puerto Vallarta just for this period of time. They are there to breed and to birth. And we saw a baby whale that was 1 month old. It was huge. It was huge. I mean, my mind was blown wide open. And it was a 5-hour experience out in the water, waiting for whales. So most of the time you're just sitting there quietly staring at the water. And then she took a microphone and put it in the water and let us listen to the whales sing.
Amazing.
And the dolphins were talking, and she was telling us they sing a different song every year. So this was their song for this year. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? The truth is, what are we doing? We're trying to create a world where everyone can whale watch because we should all be able to whale watch. And so in that moment, I was getting to experience something that I know I'm very privileged and just what a lucky thing for me to get to experience. The fact that that whale did come up, that the baby whale was there, that we got to hear them singing. None of these things are guaranteed. Not a one.
Right.
You can do the excursion and nothing's going to happen. Or you can book the excursion, and even if no whale comes up, you can get something out of the experience because you've got this marine biologist in front of you who has a wealth of knowledge about the area you're in. You're on a boat with people from all over the world. So when there weren't whales, I was just talking to people on the boat. Where are you from? What brought you here? Micro moments of connection are another thing that are incredible for vacation because we get so insular in our little worlds of problems and people and things. And then you get out into the world and you meet other people, and there's a ton of Canadians in Puerto Vallarta. They all apparently retire there. So I met a ton of people from Canada, and they reminded me that it's negative 40 degrees there. And I was just like, thank God I don't live in Canada. But what I'm saying is, and I think what you two are saying with that hike, there is so much unexpected beauty that you find when you release control. And I know I jokingly said Virgo rising, but when you can release control, and that is what a vacation is in a nutshell, being able to release control and release responsibility and release the fact that the average human makes 35,000 decisions a day, 2,000 an hour. Like that's a ton. We're tired. We are tired and we need to go have someone take us on a little bike tour where they lead and you just follow them around and they give you tacos and then they give you tequila and then you get back on the bike and you're like, this is not a good idea, but okay, I'm going to do it anyway. And then you go to the tasting menu and then you go to another amazing restaurant. And these things are all extreme privileges. And I recognize that. And if we're going to refill our well so that we can come back and serve at a higher level in pursuit of changing the world and making it a better place, then we're wielding that privilege in a way that, and I know I
Useful.
recognize. Yeah,
Yeah, and
exactly.
it has a result, right? It has the goal result. It's just like any caretaker, right? Whenever I talk to someone who's taking care of a family member, whether it's children, aging parents, anything, um, I always say, like, what are you doing to take care of you? And then I, as a friend, I'm like, okay, how can I help take care of you? Because I know you're caretaking right now, and that's a challenging thing to do. That's what we're doing always as entrepreneurs, because I don't know if y'all notice this. People get very excited about, I want to be a leader, I want to lead, I want to be in charge. Being a leader is basically being a servant. You are in service to everyone else, and your needs go last. Everyone else goes before you. Our clients go before us, our team goes before us. We are last on the list. And I don't think people realize that. They think like leadership is all about being in charge because you're a boss. And I love what Cardi B talked about this years ago. She's like, everybody talk about being a boss. Do you know you get paid last when you the boss? Like, do you realize that part? Don't forget that part. Okay. She's like, being a boss is a lot of work. Okay. So make sure we recognize that. And I love her because she's a truth teller. But
Mhm.
but yes, that's exactly it. We're always in service. We're always doing so much work. We're caretaking in a lot of ways. And so we have to make sure we're taking time to take care of ourselves and feed that fill that cup, as they say, right? So that we can go out and serve others, which is a very important part of it. And allowing yourself to fully experience it. Because I think what can happen is somebody who is working on a business, working on their goals, and they could have been sitting right next to you on this whale watching boat and not having this magical experience that moves them to tears because they're not present, because they're in their head, because they're in that container, right? And they can't even see the beauty around them. And they can't even see that, like, the whales coming up and their song that they make every year is like the answer is in there, but you
Mhm.
just can't see it in the moment, right? So you have to open yourself up to just listen and see what's going on around you and see what messages there are for you to be receiving. And all this is where we take our creativity from nature, like from all these things that we could experience, these conversations that we have. I had an amazing conversation with someone who grew up in St. Bart's, which is a tiny, tiny island. So, it's interesting when someone has lived in such a small space, and he was telling me his like family story, and it was incredible, and I just wanted to sit and just chat with him for hours, right, about all the things. And that's what happens. Like, you meet people from all over the world, you get out of your bubble, you have these fresh experiences, you be a human instead of just a doing machine. And
A
that's
human.
what I want to invite y'all to do. When you allow yourself to be human and not just a doing machine, you will actually be more productive in your doing, right? Your work will be more productive. Every decision you make will be a more productive decision. When you show up for a workday, your workday will deliver more than it could have if you were, like, wrung out and tired. And that's what, so making sure not only just vacations a few times a year, but like, how can you build a life that you don't need a vacation from, where you actually rest in the evenings? And I mean, you work a regular day, or you can do still all the things, like you can still have all the responsibilities and still have vacation moments throughout your day. Like, that's why I get up at 5 a.m. and go for a walk, because the quiet and the moon and the like the beauty that I see around me, like whatever I'm listening to, all of that is magical and
Yeah.
allows me to be present every day. So it's like just finding a way to build that in, and on your weekends and every workday is so essential. Like, that is actually productivity. And like I said, you're going to make decisions and moves that actually move things instead of just fucking busy work because I gotta be doing something, because I gotta be working towards my goals. It's like, no, no, no. If you don't know what to do, just sit your ass down and have a think. You know what I mean? Go for a walk. Listen to an audiobook, right? Just allow your mind to wander. And I don't mean have a think like I'm gonna wrestle with this idea until I have a solution. I mean, because honestly, too, y'all, for literally years, I have solved business problems, and Brittany is a testament to this because I have boxed her many times from the bathtub, sometimes crying, sometimes
I'm
not,
not laughing.
sometimes laughing. But literally, I know that when I have a business problem and I feel like the pressure to solve it, I literally go get in water. So if I'm near a body of water, I can go there. But if I'm just like at home, I can like get in the tub or take a hot shower, just sit in there for a long hot shower and let my mind wander. And inevitably, like I come out with solutions or at least the next step almost every time without fail. I just know that that's how my brain works. Like if I just allow my brain to rest and just sit in water, the solutions will come. So just figure what that is out for you as well. So just stop fighting it all the time.
Yes. Well, that's I know that my way to do that is to move my body. So it might be to do a workout or it might be to go ride my bike. I had two problems presented to me on Friday. And y'all, I was exhausted on Friday because my Friday morning started at 6:30 a.m. with two babies nursing and Rachel texting me saying, I'm not going to make my flight. And we had the Make Money Moves challenge on Friday. And so at 6:30 in the morning, I was like, okay, great. All right, here we go. You know, your adrenaline gets up. So Robert and I we're gonna coach, then we're gonna teach, and then I'm gonna do the pitch. Okay, great. So I'm on 10 from 6:30 until 2 when it's over. And at 2 o'clock, I'm dead. And then I still have a few more things to do. And I'm getting questions from people. I'm just like, can you please put that in the executive report? I cannot, I am actually incapable of making that decision. And you have to be willing to say that and accept it for yourself because there is a point of diminishing return on decision making. You're going to stop making good decisions because every hour you're making 2,000. Some of them are, what am I going to eat? Am I going to have this sip of this coffee from my travel cup that Rachel's talking about? Or am I going to go get another coffee because that one's cold, right? They can be very minute or they can be huge, complex decisions. So if you're getting a complex decision, your brain is tired, do not answer it, put it down. And over the weekend, I didn't even mean to think about them. I asked them to put them in their executive report. I wouldn't think of them again until Monday, but my brain, I went for a bike ride and I was like, it's easy, right? And so when you try, I think when you actively try, it's what you just said, Rachel, when you are trying to do so hard, what you're saying is when I get in the bathtub, I connect with myself and go into being state versus doing state. So when I am able to just be Rachel, I make a better decision than when I'm trying to do. And for me, I have a history of dissociating from my body. I'm very good at it. I completely disconnect. So if I need to make a decision and get out of my head, I know that I need to go connect to my body. And the decision, our truth is in us. We store stress in our hips. When a deer has a traumatic incident, they shake to get that trauma out of them, right? So if you are trying to make a complex decision, go shake your body. Maybe for you, it's dancing. Maybe for you, it's getting in the tub. Maybe it's a bike ride. Maybe it's going and sitting in stillness with a white noise machine playing. I don't know. We all have different things, but what you're actively doing is nothing and going into so that you can be, and this takes practice too, I was just talking to the team about this. How do you step into self-alignment? You have to be in self-alignment first before you can align with other people, before you can get to a place of truth. You got to get to truth first. And that's a lifelong job.
Yes, it is. And the truth shall set you free every time, y'all. So like when you're trying to force things that are just no longer, and it's just not your truth anymore, or it's just not true, period, and you're trying to make it work or make it be true, that is so much work. And it's just not going to lead you to where you're trying to go. I think sometimes we just have to trust the journey, trust this next step that we're being led to, even if it feels wrong or terrifying, because we can logic anything. I'm a former attorney. I can convince a lot of people of almost anything. I actually convinced my publisher to do something. And then I was like, you know what? And they went along with it. And then I was like, you know what? They were right. And I shouldn't have. It's almost like I have to rein back my powers.
You are incredible. So, and this was another major aha I had last week is just, I had this major aha of this is Rachel's genius. This is my genius. And it's hilarious. These things become incredibly obvious, but they weren't. It's like, if you've heard us talk about discovering or unearthing your strategic flywheel, that is not something you create. Your business's success is not something you can create. It is something that you discover. And it's the same thing with a doom loop. So I was on a coaching call last week and my coach told me you can be in a flywheel or you can be in a doom loop. And I think what a vacation allows you to do is to step out of a doom loop if you're in one. So if you're in a doom loop, which I didn't even realize I was in a doom loop with my children. I love babies. I'm like, I want a third. Not really, couldn't do it. But I love babies. Love babies. I love children. But I didn't even realize I was in this doom loop of wake up, take care of them, work, take care of them, put them to sleep, exhaustion. And then I came back from vacation and I'm suddenly a better mother. Like truly, I'm more present with them. I'm so excited to see them. I'm snapping at them less. Who wants to snap at their children? No one, but we are in a doom loop of exhaustion, which Rachel, you sent me how many hours a mother works. Like if it's a mother who's
Yes.
like a stay-at-home parent, whether you're a mother or father, stay-at-home parent, whatever parent you are, you can work. I can't even remember. It was bananas. It was like well over a full-time job. So if you have a
Yes.
full-time job and you're also parenting, it's the so it's an inordinate job that you're
I
taking
know.
on. And by the way, even if you don't have children, if you're doing any kind of care and support for your community, for other people in your life, I am not putting parenthood on a pedestal. Like we can all be tired and we can
Yes.
all be in a doom loop. That's just my very specific doom loop example. But
Yes.
that vacation allowed me to see it's almost like find your life flywheel. I saw in the chat someone said, how can you create a life that feels like vacation every day? I don't know if I want a life that feels like vacation every day. Or no, they said a life you don't want to take a vacation from. I want to take a vacation. Like I want to take a vacation from my children, even if I love them, because a vacation, life is a spectrum. You like there's the bad and there's the good. And there like you it's a spectrum, right? So I'm gonna have it all. I want to still take a vacation. And sometimes I'll bring my kids and sometimes
Yeah. Sometimes you want to take a vacation from parenthood, Doesn't
sure.
mean you don't love being there every day, but sometimes you're like, I'd like to just take care of myself and just worry about myself for a couple days. That'd be
Yes.
nice. Right. Because
Yeah.
it's mental rest. It's like the amount of things that you're doing to keep, especially small children safe. You need a break from that from time to time, for sure. In fact, you need a break from that regularly.
They're trying to kill themselves all the time.
Yes.
Don't know
Yes.
why.
Which is like it's nice when you have like a sister you can be like, hey, here's your niece and nephew. Bye. I'll be
Enjoy.
back.
Bye.
I don't know when. See you soon. Which might we both did that with each other. And then if you have a partner or just other people in your life who can help out. But so the doom loop, one of the things I was gonna say is vacation is also how you see, am I in a flywheel like of my business that has momentum and is moving in the direction that I want my business to go? Or am I in a doom loop where things are going terribly bad? Nothing is going the way it's supposed to. In fact, the business has the opposite of momentum, and either something needs to be fixed or I need to put it down or like whatever. Something has to shift.
Mhm.
Something significant has to shift to get this into momentum again. Sometimes we cannot even see it because we're in it. And when
Mhm.
you leave, then you're like, oh, that's what that is, right? It's so clear. But otherwise, you're in there because you're in the jar, right? You know
Yeah.
how you say, like, when you're in the jar, you can't read the label? That's what you're doing when you're in your head. You
Mhm.
think, oh, I'm going to think. And having all this thinking is going to help me to read the label and see what's actually going on in my life and where my attention needs to go, what I might need to shift. But actually, no, the thinking keeps you in the jar with the lid on. So you can't see the label. And you just kind of, not only can you not see the label, but you're not even experiencing the fullness of your life and enjoying it,
Mhm.
right? Like delightful little children that are doing, yes, they're a pain in the ass sometimes, but they're also doing super cute stuff all the time. And if you're in this, like, I just gotta work, deliver, feed them, brush your teeth, put them to sleep, whatever it is, right? Have y'all seen that Lady Gaga meme where she's talking about her crazy schedule? Have y'all seen that? It is absolutely hilarious. Robert quotes it all the time, but she's like hair and makeup, concert, tour bus, another concert, right? Press stop, right? Like she's like naming all the things, like how difficult her life is, right? And of course, all of it is amazing that she gets to
Yeah.
experience it. But I think we just need to be able to actually be human and bring it down a notch, right? And just experience and be present and not try to change the present. Because I think that's the lack of truth, right? If you're trying to change the present all the time, you're not okay with the truth, right? You got to
Mhm.
be okay with like just life being what it is. Sometimes you're going to be disappointed. That's part of life, right? Sometimes you're going to experience immense joy and you're also going to experience, intense sadness. That is all part of the experience of life that I think some of us are working really hard to constantly escape, And I don't think, I think the enjoyment of life comes from actually being okay and embracing the uncertainty of life and like experiencing it in the fullness of what it is, because that's really the only option. So we're just pretending that there's other options. There isn't. There isn't, I have discovered in my
There.
42 years. And here's the other thing I wanted to say. You said trying, right? My therapist did this with me, and I don't know if y'all had this experience with your respective therapist or whoever like you might work with, but so she's like, let's talk about trying for a second. Because I'm like,
Mm.
oh, I'm trying to do this thing. And she's like, let's talk about trying. Let's talk about what trying is. And so she was like, all right, I have this experiment I want you to do. She's like, hold up a pencil. So everybody hold a pencil. If you have a pencil, a pen, whatever you have close to you that you could hold up, just hold it up, right? I have lip gloss that I put on before I got on this. I was like, I'm in my workout clothes, my hair's in a bun, but you know what? Lips are gonna
Gonna
be
have to-
popping. Okay. But anyway, let's hold the thing. All right, now I want you to try to drop it. Try to drop the thing that you're holding. Some of y'all are on video, and this is hilarious to me. You see how you feel silly? You're like, well, I'm not really dropping it, but I'm kind of holding it funny, right? Like, you can't actually try to drop it. You can either drop it or you can hold it up. But like, try. She said, I tossed the pencil on my bed. She tossed it. I love
Tried
it.
and succeeded.
She tossed, right? So like she actively dispensed with this pencil or whatever she was holding. But that's the reality that I want y'all to remember. You can't try. There's no trying. It's literally like Yoda was right.
Yoda.
There's either doing or not doing. There is no try. Try is a way to get yourself off the hook and pretend that you're doing something when you're not. That's what try is. That's
Mhm.
what try is.
Mhm.
Doing is doing the thing. So here's what I do. When I'm thinking about doing something, I'm like, I'm trying it, but I'm not actually trying it. I'm just thinking about the thing. It's almost like I'm preparing to potentially do it, but I'm not doing it yet. But I'm pretending that I'm doing it by thinking about it a lot. You know what I mean? It's all bullshit. And it's how we actually keep ourselves stuck. Stop saying you're trying something because you're lying, right?
Do
Trying
it.
is lying.
Yes.
You're either doing the thing or you're not doing the thing.
Mhm.
And that literally is it. Even
Mhm.
if you're like, okay, let's say you want to do a squat and you know you're squatting and it's difficult for you and you're like, oh, I can't get out my first squat. There is no like, you can't try to squat. You're either gonna attempt the squat where you're doing it. Maybe you can't get all the way down, but if you do something, it's like, okay, I squatted, right?
Did it.
I did one squat. I couldn't do it fully. I didn't get all the way down to the ground, but I did one squat, right? I did a halfway squat, whatever it was. You did something. But if you tried to squat, what does that even look like? Right? Like, it's just like trying to drop something. It's not a real thing. Okay. That's not a thing. So either you're doing the thing or you're
Right.
not doing the thing and own it. Own it, own it, own it, own all of it because the truth shall set you free. So if you're
Mm.
not actually trying to do shit, stop saying you're trying to do it. Just be like, I'm not doing that right now. And just own the fact that I ain't doing it. That's my truth. Right. And whoever's mad, be mad about it because that's what my truth is right now. Now, I want to do the thing, but I'm
Mm.
not doing it yet for whatever reason. And then actually, what happens is you actually, okay, why am I not doing it? Now you can have a real conversation and actually get to whatever the problem is. But if you
Mm.
say I'm trying and let yourself off the hook, you're just going to stay in trying mode, which is not a real thing for who knows how long, right? And it's always going to be somebody else's fault why you're not doing it, or it's always going to be this external factor as to why you're not doing it. When you just own that, I ain't doing that shit. That's what it is. When you
Yup.
own that, like you're free, right? And then you can be like, okay, well, why am I not doing it? Do I even want to do it? Like, then you can have a real conversation with yourself or someone you trust, right? And get to the bottom of what the issue actually is. This is why coaching is so valuable because we live in this container in our heads and we're full of shit. Okay? Literally all of us are full of actual bullshit. Okay. And we will convince ourselves of all kinds of nonsense. And this is literally why we can't have what we want because we're sitting in this jar full of actual shit. And the people who are outside who could tell us the truth, we can't even hear them because we're literally surrounded by the shit that we're full of, right? So let's fucking take the jar off, go put the shit down, right? Have a break, have a moment to gather yourself, and then be honest and invite other people to be honest with you. And then you
Mm.
can see, like, oh, I was full of shit, right? But I could do something different. And then you're like, that's why it's not working. It's not working because I'm not even attempting it. That's why it's not working. It's not working because I'm trying and I'm just not good at it. It's not working because I won't even fucking attempt it in the first place. I'm not actually doing anything.
Mhm. Well, and then, so this also makes me think of one of my favorite analogies I've heard is that oxygen, what we breathe, not just oxygen, H2O, what we breathe, will kill us. It will kill us if we take a deep breath and never let it go. You will die.
Wow.
So the actual power of breathing is in letting go. Inhale,
Yes.
exhale. So a vacation, to bring it back to where we started, what the vacation is letting go of all that bullshit. It's getting out of your cup or your jar that you are in and if you bring all that with you on the vacation, then you're not letting go. And I think that's exactly what we're saying. And when I voxed you and you said, should I bring this business book? And you were like, put that bullshit down. Put it down.
Take that book and
not
literally fling it as far from your suitcase as humanly possible.
Yeah, throw it or what? No, toss it. Toss it like she did that pencil. Like, get rid of it.
Don't try to not read it, right? Because that's the thing. It's like, well, you could have been like, I'm going to try not to read it. But that just means I'm still going to bring it. I'm going to have the possibility of reading it. I'm probably still going to read it because that's my habit. But the doing is like, I'm going to take this book out of my suitcase. Done. You know what I mean? There's no like trying not to bring it. You're either bringing it or you're not. It's so hilarious. It's like one of those things that we're so full of shit, we can't see our own bullshit. And when I say we, I mean we. I'm full of shit as well. Okay, that's why I have a therapist.
Shit. It's so much. It's everywhere. My weekend, I can't even tell you how this weekend, because I was also, I started my cycle on Monday. So I don't know if y'all have ever really tracked your cycle and been like, you're in your luteal phase and you're like right before your cycle. And it's existential crisis. It's, I hate everything. Like, I'm the worst. Like, the thoughts are trash. And I actively remember on Sunday, I was just like, I bet I'm going to start my period tomorrow. And my husband was like, you're usually right. And then you know what happened? I started my period the next day. I was about to quit my marriage, quit being a mom, quit my job. Like, I was ready to, oh my gosh, it's too much. Like, hormones are bananas. They are they are the feeling machines in our bodies, but boy, are they brutal. And then you add on top of that, the fact that entrepreneurship is a actual roller coaster. You've seen the graphic of like the ups and the downs and the ups and the downs. We as humans are up and down and up and down and up and down. What's your bike? What's your bath? What's your let go? What's your St. Bart's? What? By the way, as a thought exercise, what is everyone's great white whale of a vacation? That's what I want to know.
Yes. That's such a great question. I love that. That's such a great question. Because here's the thing too. It's like, what is your white whale of a vacation? And white whale, what we're referring to is like, that's a metaphor for like Moby Dick, when have y'all read that? Anyway, who cares? But the point is, what's that thing that you really want to do that you haven't done yet? Because it's also like, what's also the excuse as to why you're not doing it? Because I was like, well, if I'm going to experience St. Bart's, it has to be at high season. I have to do all the things that they say you're supposed to do. And I was making it such a thing that's why I hadn't experienced it yet. I was just making up reasons. And then also, some of y'all might have heard this story. I've said this twice. There were twice I attempted to book a vacation. So I was trying, which I wasn't really, right? I called a hotel. So what I did do was call a hotel or research with an email with two different places. Well, the first time I was trying to book a villa, the second time I was trying to book a hotel. And both times they told me the price. And I was like, fabulous. And I thought it was the weekly price. I was like, send me the invoice. I'm done. And then they sent me the invoice and it was the daily price because I just couldn't have imagined that was the daily cost. It cost that daily. That's just one day.
It was like 7
hours in the hotel room for that price. Oh, okay. Let me go ahead and put that down. So I didn't try anything, right? I called, I found out the price, and then I said, we're not doing that because of the price. Right. And then there was another time, same thing, but I just took it as it was a no for me. So you see how I was the problem because there are plenty of other options on the island that are beautiful, that are reasonably priced, but I didn't even consider any of those because I was just like, oh, this is out of my range. And I made up that story. That part I made up. What was fact is that this was the price. I made up the part about this, the price of everything, and I can't afford same parts at all, right? It's all bullshit. So, and it's how we keep ourselves safe and take ourselves off the hook for giving ourselves what we want and for taking the risk, whatever that is, right? For me, it was having an extravagant vacation. I could spend a lot of money on my business. I will spend a lot of money on my children, on my family, on my team. I will spend all kinds of money investing in other people and other things. When I was just paying for stuff for myself, I'll buy myself some nice things, whatever. But giving myself a really fancy vacation for no reason that I wanted, that was still too much for me, right? That was my feeling that I needed to get past. And so the second time it happened another time, I called the following year, a different place. They told me the nightly rate or the weekly rate, and I was like, yes, done. Discovered that was the nightly rate. That one was $35,000 a night. I was like, there are places that cost that.
That's a
What you
car.
get?
That's a whole car.
What do you get with that? How you going? I need to know how you gonna change my life for $35,000 a night. But there are people who, let me tell you, those places stay booked. So please understand that there is so much money flowing through the world and it is available to you. Okay. So just understand people are paying I've seen since then $150,000 a night for different like things that I've seen over the years with booking
Yeah.
stuff. So just know there is no ceiling.
There's no feeling.
Anyway, the point is I wasn't actually trying to go to St. Bart's. I was researching it, didn't like what I found, and ran away because I was too scared. Right. And then I finally said, fuck that, I'm going. And it is what it is. And I booked last minute when it would be the most expensive. And I just did some research and found a place that was, that it still was above my price range, but I was comfortable with it. And it was a couple of nights and I was like, I'm doing it, done.
Okay.
And I had the experience and it was fucking magical. Okay. When I say I was sad, I was like, I woke up and I wasn't in St. Bart's, so I'm a little sad.
So here's a tip for you, Rachel, too. This is what I did, which maybe you don't have to do, but I'm the main breadwinner for my family. So I pay for like everything. I know every bill. I know how much money we have. And so this was my birthday vacation that my husband booked. And I said, I don't want to know how much anything is. I want you to pay for it. I'm going to say I want it. And then we do it. And so like that.
Yes.
Last night I was like talking about it. He was like, that is the most expensive dinner I ever paid for. And I was like, don't care. Not my problem. Even though I technically paid for it, but like, who cares? Like,
yeah.
And also he does trade. He's a day trader. So like, I don't know, maybe he paid for it. I don't even care. I don't even care. I knew it was okay because I gave him permission and authority and the responsibility to be financially in control of that vacation. I was like, just make it happen. I don't want to think about money. I just want to eat good food, drink good drinks, see pretty things. I want to see some whales. I want to tacos from the best taco stand. And I did. And it just that pressure. Now, it sounds like for you, part of the experience was actually getting to book it too for the St. Bart's.
Yes. I love booking vacations. I love booking travel. Like it's fun for me. The booking of it is part of the hobby, right? Like I love that. Okay, we're at time. And I hope this call was helpful and this conversation was helpful today. I very much enjoyed it.
I feel great. I feel like we dissected vacation and I'm ready to book my next one.
Yes, exactly. Naima. Naima said, don't try to do the application. Do the application. Yes. Okay. Don't try to show up to the call. Actually show up to the call. Okay. Do the call. All right. I love y'all so much. This was so much fun. Happy Tuesday. See you soon. Book your next vacation. Bye, everybody.
Hey, do you enjoy money? I do. If you want to make more money, then you need to join We Should All Be Millionaires, the club. Go to hello7.co/club to see everything you get once you become a member. hello7.co/club. In the club, we teach you how to maximize your earning potential, how to make better financial and business decisions, how to set up systems so that you're building wealth over time. We keep you focused on your financial and business goals. And we do fun activities throughout the year to keep you motivated. During our last money making challenge, our club members earned a grand total of $3,519,262.66. Okay? $3.5 million as a community. That's a lot of money, y'all. If you want to get in on this, go to hello7.co/club and become a member.